Hello, fellow Deepwoken enjoyers. Today, my brother and I, Chef, will be discussing how ping will affect Deepwoken players, and also our theories on when the game is going to release. So without further ado, let's get into it. So ping in Deepwoken. There's a lot to unfold here, but I think that in any game, you can just be genuinely better than your opponent and still be able to win against them. So obviously you'll be put at a pretty big disadvantage if you have higher ping, but I think that if you can predict what your opponent's going to do before they do it, kind of outplay them, really just think 2 steps ahead. I think even having that 300 millisecond delay won't affect you if you're already 2 seconds ahead of the enemy. To be fair, I'm sure a lot of Deepwoken's combat is reaction based, meaning you'll have to react on the fly. But I think even then, if you get your timings down and you play very cautiously, I still think even on 300 ping, you can hold your own against any opponent. Chef, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I would have to agree. Anytime there's a game like this skill based, it's always going to put you at a more disadvantage, higher disadvantage if you have a high ping, but you could always adjust your timings, parry earlier if you need to. You know, it's going to be hard, definitely. It's going to be a challenge, but I hope it's not going to be unplayable. I could be wrong, could be wrong about this. It could be unplayable and anything past 200 ping, but let's really hope for the people out there, who don't have got servers close to them. They can play fine, they can play on that high ping. They can still win their fights if they're good enough, and that's what I'm hoping it's going to be like. Unfortunately, you can't please everybody. It's not their fault that Roblox doesn't have servers in certain places, but hopefully the game will still be playable. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah. I do think the game will still be playable. So I know from testers that I think the most people like someone's ever played on is like 250 ping and they still hold their own in the fight. I believe that was Linebid. But I know there's a tester who I can't remember the name of for the life of me, I'm sorry, who plays on 200 ping and he plays in NA servers on 200 ping and he still manages to hold his own quite well, I remember hearing. So I think that if you have 200 ping or below, I think you're going to be you're going to be completely fine at Deepwoken. So if you check your ping right now, I think you'll be completely fine if you're checking and have 200 below on like Rogue Lineage, for example. One thing that I really want to quickly bring up, this has been on my mind for a lot recently, is that I can have two Singaporean server games, which I'd usually get around 150 ping on, if the game is good. On Rogue Lineage, I get 150 ping when I join a Rogue Lineage server. But if I join some random other game that's still in a Singapore server, it's 300 ping. And this has always kind of confused me, but I think I've recently kind of figured out why this is. And it's a lot to do with the map and meshes, and that kind of ties the ping somehow. I'm not really sure how, don't ask me, I'm not a scripter. But I know that Deepwoken has a feature called streaming enabled, which basically makes the map load incrementally. So as you move around the map, it will load. And this should really help affect your ping, because when the entire map is loaded at once, it can cause a lot of lag, and that on Roblox just highs your ping for some reason. I think the builders are also going to be building the map efficiently, so I hope that it will be the most optimized for play as Deepwoken can. Because some games you just join, even if you're like an NA, like you're from NA example, you get 90 ping on a server. Some games you can just join, your ping will be absolutely atrocious, and it could be because of something just like the map has been updated in a way that kind of affects the server and stuff like that. I'm not too knowledgeable on the subject myself, but I do think Deepwoken will be well optimized. I think that's all I can really say for this point. So let's move on to the next point of the new Deepwoken leak. In this first image, you can see that he's a Vesperian. You can tell because you can see the mask and the image on his face. He's also wearing earrings, which I believe has been confirmed before, but we've never quite seen them in-game, I don't think. This is interesting because we get to see a little look on what earrings might look like on some characters in-game. He's also wearing a durag. This is really cool to see. Character personalization is what makes any game more immersive. Being able to express yourself with your in-game image does wonders for a game. I think a problem with Rogue Lineage's immersion is that everyone largely looks the same. This makes the game feel static and really ruins the immersion you have. Anyway, that's all I have for the first image. Let's take a look at the second image, which has a lot more to unpack. So in the second image, we can see Agamatsu on the same character, but this time we can see a cannon on the right side of the screen. This is very interesting. I think this proves without a doubt that boat fighting will be in the game, as I don't really see any other purpose for the cannon. Boat fighting may be intuitive and it may not be. I've definitely seen boat fighting is executed incorrectly, and I've definitely seen it executed correctly. It really just depends on how the developers want to handle this one. If I had to make any predictions on what it might be like, I'm going to assume that boat fighting will do a substantial amount of damage to the enemy ship, possibly even removing a chunk of it, since we know that environmental damage will be in the game. Either way, I think boat fighting will be incredibly cool, and I think this will be a really cool system in Deepwoken. The third part. This will be me and Chef's opinion on how the game is going to release and kind of the cycle that it will follow to release. So I believe we've reached Wave 0 quite a long time ago. I think that's right, Chef. Like in that big like 60 player spike, that was Wave 0, we're pretty sure,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, pretty sure. Yeah.
So I think Wave 0 is already through, and how the game naturally follows is we were in Wave -1, which is not typical for a game, but it was there. Then Wave 0, which is like very close testing, and Wave 1, which is I think are going to be like not public, but a little bit bigger groups of people, and maybe like more like friends of friends instead of just like direct friends of Rag. I think Wave 1 will be the massive bug test that Ragusa was talking about. So, if you guys aren't sure what I'm talking about, a couple months ago at this point, Ragusa did tweet on Twitter that he'd be doing a massive like bug test with all the testers. And I think they're going to invite players for this, and I think that alone will be Wave 1. If we're going to follow the tradition of how it's been going so far, with Wave -1 being like a year and a half, Wave 0 being like half a year, I feel like it would make sense for Wave 1 to be very short, if we're not even in Wave 1 yet. That's assuming that we're already in Wave 0. I think the Wave 1 will be the big bug test, and I think the bug test, just from like, I'm not a developer, I don't think it will last that long, because there's only so much that you can really do in the game in that much of a time. A game with this much content, I don't think the bug test will last too long, because I don't think they'll have the time, like it won't fit the schedule for release. I think they'll only do like just really game-breaking bugs, like get them out the game. Like, example, I know that Archmage a couple months ago fixed a big like bug with enemy interaction and like how they aggro. So I think it's going to be a lot of bugs like that. Obviously some smaller bugs too, but the thing is identifying these bugs won't take as long, so that's why I believe it won't take that much time. I believe it will only take probably 4 days to a week. So as I'm recording this, it is currently November 15th. I don't think it's going to come out in November. I think for the next 15 days they're going to work on just general polish content of the game. And then I think when December starts, they're going to get like really serious on releasing the game. I think they're going to focus on purely polish for December, making sure the game is as shiny as possible. I think we can expect a December 15th release. That is my personal opinion, based off the facts that I believe that the game is very close to being finished from the leaks that we've seen, and like the time frame mashing up the time. So from a couple months ago, we saw a leak and the game looks finished. When Rag streamed it, that looks like a finished game to me, and it's already been months since that happened. I think there's only so much ways they can go, only so much time that they can basically stall until the game's out. I think December 15th is a pretty reasonable release date, considering the facts that they're going to have to do a big bug test, which will take a week, or probably even less, and also, a week or two for polish. I think this will make sense. I don't think they want to release it just last second, because Archmage actually said on Twitter that he's not going to, they really just want to release it as soon as possible and not completely last second. I think this is very reasonable to assume. But anyways, that's just my opinion. Hi, I'm editing this video, and I think it's appropriate to elaborate on my point a little bit more. I'll keep this short. I think that the rest of November will be purely content, like they're just going to work on content. And I think December, they're doing their bug testing and polish. So why I think this is because content wise, I don't think they want to cram their content all into like a last second like thing, because I know they want to release Deepwoken as soon as possible, and I don't think they're going to cram their content into like the last month that they can release the game. I think they're going to want to like really focus like on making sure the content is like drawn out and ready, and I don't think they'd start any last minute content like creations, like a new spell, like so close to the game being released. I think they're purely focusing on making sure the game is shiny, fixing the bugs, making sure the game is well polished, and I don't think that will take a super long amount of time. I don't think they're going to spend like the majority of the month doing that. That's why I think it's going to be an early like December 10th to December 15th release. And I say early, but that's like pretty much halfway through December, but that's better than like literally the end of December, like December 24th or whatever. So yeah, that's my opinions on it. I could be wrong, but either way, we are closer than ever for Deepwoken coming out. So I know I'm mad excited. I know most of you are mad excited too. And one thing I have to ask, if anyone's actually watched this far into the video, this video was largely unscripted. I've scripted a couple lines, but other than that, it's been pretty much completely unscripted. If you've noticed like stutters and like rephrasing in speech and stuff like that, that's why. if you like this style of content more, unscripted once again, sorry. If you like this style of content more than my other, which were like my Mordhab video, which was completely like fully scripted from beginning to end, let me know. I don't know which one to do yet. I think there's a good amount of like realism and connect that comes into unscripted content. You just hear my pure unfiltered ideas, but I think also scripted content is a little easier to watch, a little bit easier on the brain. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.